Okay.
How many cats do you have? One? Is it
All right.
a male cat and it's covered? Male cat don't want
Anybody know where we're up to?
You said it was in the middle of it.
Oh, I just lost my bookmark. I don't know where it is. I think 111. That's my suspicion.
All right, any other votes?
Go 110.
This is the middle of the base. It was 112.
Oh, we got through 111?
Yep. Well, yeah. Because when I asked you, you said it was the middle.
I thought we were hurrying to 111. That meant you were going to probably want to look at something.
What page do you have? 114. We've got 111, 112, and 114. Anybody else?
Wow.
114.
If we keep going, maybe we'll be done with the books soon.
Definitely not 111. Well, I mean,
Isn't that what we finished, just at the end of 111? No?
no, we definitely started dollars.
That's when you fell asleep,
We started
Dak.
dollars?
Oh yeah, because we had started talking about the fact that what people do affects.
Yeah, we definitely did that.
That's dollars.
Okay.
Was I here?
But
I
I
was
don't
in.
remember if we stopped in the middle of the paragraph or we finished the paragraph.
We stopped in the middle of whatever we were doing.
So I generally cut out the beginning of the video, the first 5 minutes of everyone talking about how they don't really know where we're up to because they weren't paying attention last time. But this time I'm going to leave it in. All right. Yeah, we are in middle of Dalet, but we're going to start again. We're going to start again from the beginning of Dalet. Okay.
The middle of Dalet means page 112 or page 114?
We're going to start from the beginning of Dalet.
Okay,
Beginning. Okay.
Are we ready?
Want the fan off?
I said I like this man.
Good.
Yeah, little misters.
I have a misty fan on this back. David, how
All right, here we go. All right, so we're going to start again from Dalet. So what we said before this was that there is a system that has everything that goes on in the world designed through the kaichos, through these spiritual forces that exist up in the spiritual world, and the things that go on in our lives, to us, around us, all those things are dictated through and filtered through those kaichos, and that's how they get here. Then we started Dalet, in which we said that there's another system in place at the same time. So in addition to those kaichos working what they do, there's also another program, another system of decision making of how things work. So let's start again from Dalet and we'll see how that goes. However, there's another cause for things that happen in the world. Alpi darchei hamishvat v'hagemul, and this follows the system of justice. It follows the system of reward. It follows the system of consequence, and it makes sense. And what is that? Kihine gazar hashofet ha'elyon yisbarach. Hashem, who is the supreme judge, has decreed shemiteledes ma'aseh ha'adam atzmai, that from one of the outgrowths or the products of what a person does, yiyeh he'azrai mimenu yisbarach, a person will receive help from Hashem Himself, to make it easier for him to achieve his perfection. And to save him from the pitfalls, from the obstacles. As the Pasuk says, Raglei chasidav yishmar, that Hashem watches or guards the feet of the pious. Meaning to say that when a person does the right thing, that can evoke and elicit a response from Hashem that will make things easier. Once you start on that path, things can get easier because you've started. So again, remember, this is in addition to the predetermined stuff. There's also the fact that when we do things right, when we start on a particular direction in life, it could be something small, it could be something life-changing, and an entirely different direction in life. Whatever it is, Hashem may decide that your actions do warrant getting help. So once you start that process, Hashem may react to that by making it easier for you, giving you more opportunities to do that, and in doing so, fulfilling this pasuk that says, Ragli Chasidav Yishmar, that Hashem guards the feet of His Chasidim, of those who are pious, meaning to say that when you are going in the path of piousness, then Hashem will guard you, meaning He will keep that path available and open to you and allow you to continue on that path without obstacles, without the setbacks that we would otherwise have run into along the way.
Opening doors. You feel doors opening.
Yeah.
And your path becomes a little easier.
Correct. Okay, so now that's what we covered last week. However, certainly there are various levels and a lot of different strengths to which this is going to play out. Because you might find somebody that the way the justice would have had it is based on the actions that he had done. The justice system says or requires that Hashem will give him a little bit of help for what he's done, based on what he's done. And you might have somebody else that somebody else might get more help based on what they've done, and it will be easier for him to reach this level of perfection. Kalas Rav, much easier. Then you have somebody else who could have even more help than that, meaning to say that there's no set amount, there's no recipe that says that if you do X, you're going to get Y amount of help. It doesn't work that way. Everybody's different, everybody's situation. Hashem takes everything into account when deciding how much a person's going to get as far as help goes, based on the things that they're doing. So the concept of siyata d'shmaya, which means help from heaven, help from Hashem, that is not it doesn't follow a mathematical equation. It's not linear. It's something that has, every single situation has its own judgment. And Hashem decides, if you did this, you're going to get this amount of help. And somebody else may have done exactly the same thing and get a different amount of help. And you might do the same thing a different time in a different situation in life and get a different amount of help. So it's never a set system. It's one that requires Hashem's judgment of taking everything into account that will allow for the creation of such a help system, what we call siyata d'shmaya. Okay, good? All right, now this is all on the positive. Now, he says, the same is true on the opposite side. Kvar yimatzei mi, you might find somebody who, like if he hadin yiyah roy, that based on the judgment that he has received, it is appropriate for him, shaloya azur min hashemayim, that he will not receive any help from Hashem. Ach, lo yakshu alav hasagas hashemesh, but it won't become more difficult for him. So somebody might do something wrong, and Hashem might say, okay, you're heading in the wrong direction here, but I'm not going to help you on that path. I'm not going to make it any easier for you to continue on that path, but I'm also not going to make it any easier for you to switch and go back to the right direction. It's going to just be neutral. I'm just going to leave things where they are. Then you'll have somebody else. Shemishpata Yetze, that his judgment will come out to be that'll actually have more obstacles and it will be more difficult for him to return and to get on the right path. And he'll require a tremendous amount of strength, amal rav, and a lot of work, until he reaches that point of going back in the right direction. Then you have another person, shuhu harasha hagomer. This is the person who is the absolutely wicked person. Sheisasmu b'fanav kol darchei tikun. That all of the ways of correction will be closed before him. The yidcha barasa, and he will be set aside, cast aside, through his wicked activity and the way he's living his life. And it's all these ideas, there's lots and lots and lots and lots of details, lots of different things that are taken into account when these decisions are made, and certainly beyond the scope of human comprehension to try to figure out that calculation. So, what Rav Chal has told us is that when a person does the right thing, they can often assume that there's going to be some help coming for them to continue in that direction in life. If they do the wrong thing, there is the possibility that the opposite's going to happen, and that they're going to be somewhat closed off, or the path to return is going to be obscured, and it's going to be harder. And the more we feed our Yetzer Hara, and the more we nourish the bad side, the more difficult it's going to be to get back on track. And unfortunately, it's not a one-way system that Hashem says, no matter what you do, I'm going to make it easier for you to return. It doesn't work that way. If a person is consistently getting there and going in the wrong direction, Hashem might allow that to continue without helping him return. So it's very important to understand that this is very much a two-way street. Yes?
Speaking of streets, I want to give a practical example and see if this example actually can be used to describe this, or whether I'm off on the wrong alley. Suppose somebody is in a car accident, and let's say because of the car accident, they were shocked because it was like a very serious car accident, and they thought they were going to die. They didn't die, but somebody else in the accident died, the other car, let's say. And now this person has several things they're dealing with, and they end up with, let's call it post-traumatic stress disorder. And then they have this course of dealing with post-traumatic stress disorder. They have to do psychotherapy, or they have to do medications, or they have to do both. And it's a struggle for them. It goes on for many years. Let me just stop at that point and say, regardless of how many more years it goes on, how do we look at that at all? Not we. Does this person who had this experience, and obviously other people were part of the experience because somebody died, but this person who had this experience, how do they, when they're reading this, how do they look, or how do they interpret anything about that experience from something different than just, oh, I forgot to put on my turn signal, it's my mistake. I mean, it seems like there would be something deeper they would be examining, that they not only had this experience, but now they have this mental health condition. It's a struggle to deal with. Is the question clear?
Nope.
No. Stephen, can you answer the
I had
question?
a very hard time hearing over the hum of the traffic.
I'm just describing somebody goes through a
He's
car
saying somebody has a traumatic experience and they end up with PTSD. Now you want to know something about how that connects to this.
Yeah, because it's something that now they have a tremendous struggle instead of challenges they have to go through.
Yes.
So is that not part of what you've just been describing? That you are going to be faced with a variety of...
We're talking about things that a person receives based on the things that they've done in life.
Well, I'm asking, did they receive a car accident? Because
Could someone receive a car accident because of something they've done? Sure.
If you want to know if the PTSD is included in the calculation, what does the PTSD have to do?
I don't understand the question.
Okay, then I'll wait and see if it comes up a different way. That's fine.
You have the
Anybody
event,
else?
You have the event, and then you have the aftermath of the event.
Is that what you're asking?
So the event is the car accident, and from the car accident, there are secondary issues which
Could
become
exacerbate this whole.
From
Is that what you're
cause
asking?
and effect.
Or you're asking about the whole
is that
package?
part of the package deal of the?
Is that what you're asking? I don't think that's what you're asking.
Is that part of the?
Do you think that's what you're asking?
That's what it sounded like to me.
He has no idea what he's
That's what
asking.
it sounded like to me.
Yeah, and then.
All right, Lynn, we need your help.
No, everybody's on the same page.
No.
Yeah.
That's not what you're asking.
I
No.
think so.
No, that's not what
I
I'm
think
asking.
it's what I'm asking, that you have...
You're asking, is the everything that is a result of this also part of the calculation? Is that your question? No, that's not your question.
Okay.
How you bounce back is up to you.
What?
The doctor knows this question.
No.
I'm not convinced.
Yeah, no, I think you might be right. I mean, I'm saying that if you have these challenges that come forward
A person
afterwards-
has post-traumatic challenges. You want to know, are those challenges products of his actions in the past?
Yeah, that would be one way to ask it.
Okay.
Is that what you're asking?
I don't know. I mean, is that what you're asking?
I'd be curious to know that question.
That's a good question too?
Yeah.
Ay, ay, ay. Everything that is a result is absolutely included in the calculation. Hashem is acutely aware of the full picture of what's going to happen.
But what I'm asking is...
So
does the
if a person does something that deserves, or not deserves, but something that warrants his having challenges in the category of mental health for the future, the rest of his life,
Right.
then of course that's intended. That's an intended result of the trauma.
So then does that person...
And it could have been because of your action, or it could have been because that was anyways the plan.
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah,
Right,
it's not
but-
necessarily.
It's a whole package.
But what I'm asking then is this
We're getting to
person-
the question. Hold on, we're getting there.
Is this person who's had this set of experiences, is that person supposed to, in the process of trying to heal, supposed to look at this from a spiritual, if that's the right word, point of view to say, oh, this happened to me for a reason, and it's my wake-up call, etc., whatever. Like, because not every single person who has PTSD does that.
Right,
Is
but
that a
just before I answer your question, why is this limited to PTSD? What about the accident itself?
No, of course.
Same question would
Of
apply, right?
course, yeah.
The answer is 100%. The answer is that every single thing that goes on, good and bad in life, we are supposed to be doing our best to understand that this is directly from Hashem for a specific reason.
Right, but in mental health, how many people make us...
Hopefully everybody that you help.
Yeah, but most people
Not
don't
everybody
take
has
that
Not
step.
everybody has the spiritual equation.
That
in
step
the
comes-
mental health.
correct.
They
Right,
don't-
that step
they
comes-
don't want that in their mental health treatment. They
Right.
want to be treated medically and dealt with through a lens of psychology, psychiatry, and they don't want the spiritual component plugged in, so they don't have that meaning and purpose in this necessarily.
Which we feel is a...
We're talking about
Which we feel is a mistaken belief. We would like to be able to convince them, but we don't know how to do that.
But why isolate that
It's not our
one?
job, because at least in general clinical social work and psychology, I can't impose my...
Lynn, you should have been here.
I can't impose my spiritual or religious
Right,
beliefs or
right.
takes unless they're open to that or they bring it up first and then we
Right.
can discuss it. But it's not a forum where, again, unless you're doing spiritual counseling
Right.
or or dealing with people in Yiddishkeit or some other spiritual framework, you usually don't bring that in necessarily.
And when, like, some of the cases people...
Lynn is nodding, by the way.
Right.
Lynn's on your
In
team.
agreement? Okay, well,
Yes.
As long as Lynn, as long as
Yeah,
Lynn-
you got Lynn on your team. You're good.
And in some
Virtual
cases,
Lynn, that is.
near the end of the treatment, the person has a sudden wake up and goes, oh, you know what? I started going to church,
Yes, sometimes
and I suddenly began to realize, looking all at this very differently.
I strongly encourage everybody to read Man's Search for Meaning by
Viktor
Viktor Frankl.
Frankl.
Start right there, and we can process that at a later date.
Yes,
Man's
later
Search
date.
for Meaning, yes. But yeah, I hear what the doctor's saying.
How about you? Do you?
I'm getting there.
You're getting there. All right. And progress has been made. Excellent.
Thank you for the asides. corollaries, the divergent, whatever.
It's okay, all these questions are all part of things that we may have done to ourselves.
Yeah, that's right. I definitely deserve
We were
this.
meant to have
I
all these
definitely, we
questions.
definitely traumatized ourselves. I can only speak for myself. I've definitely traumatized myself.
All right. What's up? Good?
Yeah, I mean, but isn't the goal not to constantly be aware of Hashem's presence, not necessarily through something negative? I mean, wouldn't it be ideal if we took each thing and tried to put it into place rather at the end of each day, rather than, hey, this horrific, horrible thing happened, and trying to figure out all these root causes of I don't know. To me, it's easier to chunk things and to look at more delicate patches and more, at the end of something that I can attach it to more clearly.
I mean, whatever works. To each their own, whatever works for you.
Do you see what I'm saying, Doctor?
I'm not sure. No.
That's a no. You can say no.
But
Rather than looking.
Remember
rather
President Bush didn't he
not
teach you
everything
that?
has to be,
Just say no.
you're not looking
That
at
was
everything
Nancy,
negative.
Reagan.
Something,
That's what I'm saying.
Nancy
Something
Reagan. My
happened.
mistake. Sorry.
and you want to, you just have to, there's always two, so far we've said there's always two things to keep in mind. What the balance is without your actions, and now we're adding in your actions as well. So it's not that you're thinking negative, you're trying to think, you're not a negative person by thinking this. You're seeing what something happened that was seemingly detrimental to you to a certain extent, right? That happened. It wasn't something. It's not your outlook. A car accident. It could be a blessing. It could be a blessing, but it's not that you should say, everything's hunky dory and I did nothing wrong, or that has to be what we're saying here is that part of the calculation is maybe I did something to deserve this. Right? Am I missing anything?
Absolutely. We're
Yeah. Okay.
Here's the issue. Everyone's kind of trying to take what he says over here and applying it to different parts of their lives. So let's try to understand what he says, and then we can apply it, which he himself will. We'll get there. But what he's saying is that there are two distinct systems at play with everything that goes on in life. One is the predetermined stuff, and another is reactive stuff to the things that we do. Now we have to understand that sometimes the things that happen to us, good or bad, are because of our actions. Sometimes they're not. He's never told us how to know. And I don't know that he ever will tell us how to know, because we probably won't. And that's hidden from us. What we do know is that these are both options. So what Rabbi Goldman is saying is that, well, keep that in mind, because when something good happens, understand that might be Hashem is helping you because you've done something good. Now you're able to take that a step further. Or it could be the opposite. It could be that something bad happens, it's because of something that you've done, and now this is the result of that. So you gotta, take stock. Take stock. All right.
I think if a person's rigorously honest with themselves, they'll be able to discern that there's certain actions that I have done. When you go to that core of your being and you're rigorously honest and look down the steps of your soul, there's things that you've done that have played a role in your negatives or positives, your mental health, whether it's been a deficiency or benefit to your mental health. We all know the things, and this is just reality check, but it takes being rigorously honest. We have so many defense mechanisms that we develop that protect us from being rigorously honest, and that's the thing.
And I feel an obligation to add to that after having lived in Eretz Yisrael for 15 years. If you're interested in having a clearer correlation between the things that you actually do in the physical world and how Hashem responds to you, spend some time in Eretz Yisrael, because it's much clearer. It just, the universe works differently there, and you feel that there's a correlation. Just saying.
All right. When are we going?
Why don't we do the weekly thing there?
The weekly thing there.
This.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll be on Zoom. All right.
Go to Mount Cable.
I'm in.
handful
Which-
field
okay,
trip.
anyway, what's it called? Where's his grave site? Haver.
No idea.
Is the Ram Paul the one who ended up in Amsterdam for several
We
years?
get a food Starbucks, probably don't tell us when we
No
get
idea.
ahead.
He passed young, right?
Yeah. So you throw his book on the floor. Wow.
You have to
Oh, there's respect. There's respect at its best.
He's not the one where they found more manuscripts or something somewhere under a place in Egyptian. That's not.
I don't know. It's possible.
Some-
All right. Vihine.
Hi.
Hi. Nimtza comes out is she'afsher sheyizke ha'adam. It is possible that a person can merit v'yugziru alav hatzlachas b'olam hazeh, and through the things that he does, he can merit having decrees of success upon him in this world, l'sayai b'avodasai, to help him in his service to Hashem and his work. In order to make it easier for him to reach the desired goal of perfection. And he won't find any obstacles, he won't find any setbacks. The afshar, it's also possible, nigzer love, that it will be decreed upon him, based on what he's done, have sedim, losses, bitzaros, and tzaros, let's see, tzaros or tzaros.